Am I naughty for backing out of babysitting a friend's kids at the last minute? Original post. I feel like I can admit that I am naughty in this situation, but I guess I want to know if it's justified or not. So a week ago, I got a phone call from someone I would consider a friend. We're not super close, but we're friendly, and get together with the same group of friends a lot. She called and said that her kids were talking about how much fun they have with mine, and wanted to know if we were free this coming Saturday, a week and a half away, at the time. My kids really do like her kids, and I want to be better friends with her as well, so I said sure. She was relieved, and said her husband would be out of town and she needed a babysitter from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I felt like it was a major bait and switch, because I thought she wanted to do something altogether, but I felt bad backing out when I had already told her I was completely free that day. I should have said something right then, but I didn't. Well, yesterday, I ran into a friend of mine and she asked if I was excited for Saturday. I thought that was weird, because no, I'm not excited to babysit someone else's kids for 14 hours. But I said my kids were definitely excited. She said, "Oh good. Is your husband taking them to do something fun? Or who is watching them?" To which I made a face and responded that I was watching them, and then she was the one who was confused, and said, "So you're not coming?" Well, last week I didn't go to the end of year PTA meeting because I had just started my period and I felt crummy and didn't want to go. I guess after the fact, some friends went out to lunch. They decided to plan a big girls' day to relax before the kids are back home all day for the summer. Going to the city, shopping, pedicures, eating at nice restaurants, etc. And when it was brought up that I would probably love to go too, this friend said she needed to talk to me about some PTA stuff I missed so she would tell me about it when she called me. But instead, she decided to use me as her babysitter. So I called the friend, and told her I wasn't aware of the girls' day at the time, and that I wouldn't be able to watch her kids after all. She asked if my husband could watch her kids too, which was a no. She started crying that she really needed this, and what would she do now since her husband won't be home and it's too late to find someone willing to watch 5 kids for 14 hours, with no pay. And then once the tears weren't working, she just got angry. She said it was rude to back out of a commitment just so I could selfishly do something fun, and how I'm an awful friend. My friends are all feeling super uncomfortable with the whole thing. We're all typically a very happy, drama-free friend group, so I know no one wants to take sides, and now I'm wondering if I even go at all. So am I naughty for backing out of watching her kids when I committed to it already? Update post. I had someone ask for an update on what I ended up doing yesterday, so here it is. I followed the advice from a lot of you to talk to one of the friends I'm closer to in the group, Sarah, to kind of get a feel for what was going on. Sarah said she was kind of frustrated with everyone. After I had run into the friend, her name is Casey, to make it less confusing. Casey had filled everyone in on what had happened. They all agreed that the mean friend, Jenny, shouldn't have lied or tricked me into watching her kids, but they all sympathize with her. I guess it is Jenny's 15th anniversary this weekend, but her husband forgot and had planned a boys' camping trip. So she was sad and angry with her husband, and they all knew she would really need a little getaway to cheer her up. Though it doesn't sound like anyone blamed me for not babysitting, they were disappointed for her, and put all of their energy into making a plan for her to still be able to go. No one really seemed to bat an eye whether I was going to go or not, or care that I was sad, except for Sarah. However, when it came time to make final plans for everything, someone decided to do the math and realized that if I was going to come, we would no longer all fit into the Suburban my friend Kim was going to drive. It's a 2-hour drive to the city, so taking one vehicle was definitely ideal. Sarah volunteered to drive her car and we would just take 2, but it all just felt so forced and so uncomfortable that I just ended up backing out. I mentioned in a few of my comments that I have always known I'm not one of the most involved friends in the group, but I've known most of them for almost a decade, so I guess I thought there was more substance to our friendship than they all did. I don't think any of them have anything against me or dislike me. But I'm realizing I'm just not that important to them. It was pretty disappointing, and it definitely opened my eyes. So that all happened on Thursday, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty heartbroken by it all. The next day when my husband came home for lunch, he told me to hurry and pack an overnight bag, because he had booked a hotel room for me and my sister-in-law to go have our own girls' night. His mum and sister pulled up an hour later so his mum could watch the kids after my husband went back to work, and his sister, who is seriously just the best, and I had the best 24-hour getaway ever. Some people can be real jerks. I just feel so dang lucky that my husband and family aren't. Am I naughty for storming out a restaurant and putting some friends in an awkward position? Original post. I need to start off by saying that I, 19M, have mild autism and I was homeschooled. I have trouble navigating social situations, though I think I've gotten better since coming to college, which makes me think I might be in the wrong here. Since coming to college, I got a group of friends and it's been fun, except they insist that I'm in love with our new friend Mark, 20M. He joined our group about a month ago. Me and Mark have a lot of things in common, so we bonded quickly. Because of that, our other friends said that we're in love and made for each other. It was a good laugh until they kept repeating it. They kept making claims that made it sound like I had feelings for him, and it got super weird. For instance, one day we were hanging out in Mark's dorm and I left when an emergency came up. In my rush I left my charger. It got returned to me, but the others claimed I left it on purpose so I could leave a piece of me with him. Another time I was eating spaghetti and some of them said I was practicing to eat Mark's bum. Comments like this occur about 6 or 7 times a day. I have no idea where it's coming from. I'm not even gay. A week ago, I asked Mark if he was as uncomfortable with it as I am. He didn't know they said those things because they never said it to him. It's only been to me. I don't know why. I sent a message to our group chat. Guys, the comments you make about me and Mark are really making me uncomfortable. Especially since I found out they've only been directed at me. Please stop. I don't find them funny or amusing. They apologized and said they wouldn't do it again. Friday, 6 of us, excluding Mark, went to dinner together. While we were waiting to order, Jada, 19F, asked if I wanted to date Mark. I told her no and to drop that stuff since it makes me uncomfortable. She asked why I was so uncomfortable if it's not true. I told her that's exactly why. It's not true, but they keep talking like it is. She said it is true and she knows it's true. I could feel myself getting angry and didn't want to melt down, so I just left. Walked out and drove back to my dorm. I texted the group chat that I did not wish to be around Jada given what happened. Jada got mad and said I was letting a guy ruin our friendship, and I didn't know how to take a joke. I've ignored her messages and calls. All of our friends side with me, but a few of them said it was putting them in an awkward position and I should let it go. I already stated that I'm not the best with social interactions, so I'm thinking maybe I am naughty? Update post. There were a lot of comments. I didn't respond to all of them, but I did read most and think about the situation. First thing I did was talk to Mark. He assured me that my behavior never seemed flirtatious or inappropriate. I told him that I gonna cut off the rest of them. He told me he would do the same, but I told him not to. I appreciate the support, but I'm the one having the issue. I didn't speak to anyone from that group except for Mark for a couple weeks. I've been meeting new people and it's going fine. Then a few days later, some came by my room and wanted to talk to me. To my surprise, it was the 4 people, Chris, Emma, Ty, and Micah, who I wasn't as close with as the others. We started talking and the first thing they did was apologize for the situation and for making me uncomfortable. I asked them one of my biggest things I was curious about: why were the comments directed at only me? Here's what I learned. Jada told him she talked to me and they could make comments to me and I would be okay with it, but said she talked to Mark and he said he would be uncomfortable. I didn't believe this until they showed me the messages. I never told Jada this and I doubt she talked to Mark, so she lied, and that's when it started. I was still confused on why she would make him in the first place. Ty, Micah, and Chris didn't know, but Emma showed me her messages with Jada. To the person who asked if Jada has a crush on Mark, you are incorrect. Jada has a crush on me. For the past 4 months. Even though I'm not the best socially, once I saw the messages, I'm pretty sure she was jealous of Mark and was trying to make me uncomfortable around him. The other 3 saw the messages and thought the same thing. So she was jealous. Nobody aside from Emma knew this though. They just joined in because they thought it would be funny. I asked, why is me being uncomfortable a joke or funny? They didn't have a response. I told them what a lot of people told me in the replies: how it was bullying and homophobic to make such remarks, and disguising them as jokes is just an excuse. I acknowledged that I should have said something sooner, but it also should have never gotten to that point. They again apologized and asked if I could forgive them. Truthfully, I have already gotten past the situation and moved on. Ultimately, I did decide to give these 4 a second chance. The fact they came to talk, apologize, explain, and weren't on the defensive or dismissive when I was explaining how I felt or what made them wrong, I think that's a good sign. It will take a bit longer to fully regain my trust, but haven't had any issues since then. Am I naughty for uninviting my family to my wedding after they feminized my fiancé? Original post. I, 24M, am getting married to my fiancé Jay, 23M. My mother's family is very traditional and religious and always believed I would be marrying a girl and are having a hard time adjusting. Jay is a model. He oftentimes he'll model clothes on the more feminine side and no one has a problem with it. My family have seen some of the photos and have often joked that Jay is pretty enough to be a girl, which he would just laugh off as some joke. My grandfather has offered to pay for the suits. The deal was he would get an opinion when it came to what our wedding suits would be since they were paying. Jay and I went on different days. Fast forward, I'm going to go pick up the suits from my aunt's place. Right away I can tell something's wrong. My suit is fine but Jay's is white. Jay was adamant saying he wanted a black suit, so I asked my aunt why it was white, but she said Jay chose it. I didn't believe her. Something was definitely off. Jay isn't a large guy or anything, but this suit just looked far too small. I asked Jay about the suit when I get home and he just brushes it off. When I said it looked too small, he looked a bit panicked and said he'll take care of it. I couldn't help but feel maybe Jay was pressured into choosing white. He's a bit of a people pleaser, so it wouldn't surprise me. I ended up looking up the suit online to see if I could order one in black and that if he liked it we could refund my grandfather. As it turns out, they ordered a woman's suit for him. I honestly thought it was a mistake at first, and that maybe my grandfather somehow chose wrong, so I asked Jay about it when he got home and he broke down. Apparently my grandfather told Jay that every wedding needs someone in the bride role, and since he's marrying into our family it should be him. My aunt had been pressuring Jay into losing weight to fit into the suit they bought for him and had convinced him their family would only accept him if he wore a white bridal one. And that's not even all. My grandaunt has been buying Jay a lot of hair accessories that are extremely feminine and has even suggested he get a new engagement ring. I've never been so pissed. Jay said he didn't tell me about any of this because he just wanted to keep the peace, and that just made me more upset. I ended up uninviting them to our wedding. My mum called and demanded to know what happened, and she was deeply shocked and ashamed when I told her what her everything, and she says it's not acceptable but that they're having a hard time adjusting to this new kind of wedding. My cousins say if a suit was such a big deal then Jay should just wear a dress since he's used to wearing girl clothes. I uninvited him too. Jay's family are all on my side. My mum says that I was overreacting by uninviting everyone that disagrees with me and that I should let them come if they apologize to Jay. I'll admit I was harsh, but I also don't think I'm in the wrong. Am I naughty? First update. To start off, thank you guys so much for your support. Jay and I both appreciate it very much, and I'm glad you all are just as upset as I am. Jay and I ended up deciding that if my family apologized to him, they would be able to come to the ceremony, but not the reception. Jay was the one who suggested it and my mum was on board with the idea as well. We returned both suits and Jay's grandparents offered to pay for any we choose by ourselves, regardless of what they look like. They would even pay the shipping fees so they'd be here on time. Bless them. All the offenders, except for my cousins, ended up apologizing to Jay, but only my aunt looked somewhat genuine about it, especially after we explained the deal. I thought that would be it, but I was wrong. Yesterday we got a return on our deposit for our reception venue, the owners saying they ended up double booking and could no longer host us. Their policy says they can refund up to the week of an event. As far as the website says, the day is still free. My mum has been getting texts non-stop from her brother, and we have come to the conclusion that her uncle somehow convinced the owners of the venue to not host us, presumably because they were pissed about not being able to come to the reception. So now Jay and I have no venue and are positively freaking out. We've been scrambling all day trying to find one last minute because we have everything booked and invitations sent out, but no place for anyone to go. So yeah, as if the situation wasn't already bad enough. I may end up posting another update if we're able to sort this out. Update. Final update. It has been an absolute ride over here. My bill ended up calling to request the venue in his name, as everyone suggested, but it was in fact already rebooked. My mum got a call saying her uncle sent in a higher deposit in his name, claiming he was covering the cost for us to compensate for a higher head count. He was essentially dangling the venue over our heads in order for us to go back on our word for not having that side of the family at the reception. I'm not sure how any of that works, and it seems incredibly unprofessional on the venue's part. Jay was willing to give in and just allow everyone to come at this point, mainly because we needed a venue and it was impossible to find a new one with such a short time frame. I was not, and given everyone's collective outrage on the original post, I had enough of them. They had abused Jay behind my back and insulted our relationship. They didn't deserve to celebrate our marriage. One of the groom's ladies came to the rescue and offered up her small property about 30 minutes from the original site. Bless her. We transformed this place into something that somewhat resembles a wedding venue 2 days leading up to it. It looked really good at the end. It had somewhat of a rustic woodsy vibe, which Jace and I actually really liked. In fact, we liked it so much that we decided to have the ceremony there as well. One of Jay's cousins was officiating and the original location had a refundable deposit as well, so it would all work out. The wedding was perfect and the greatest day of my life. Despite the pitfalls, Jay and I had a truly fantastic day. I did not tell my mum's family about the change of plans. I told them that they could come to the reception, at the venue they paid for, and that I was so sorry for being disrespectful to them. They were not pleased when they realized we had switched venues for both events, and thankfully, were unable to get the new address. My uncle demanded we refund him for the deposit, which we obviously didn't. Jay and I blocked all of their numbers after sending him the early drafts of the wedding photos, which were edited so it looked as if I were wearing a dress just to piss him off. We've decided to go NC with all of them, something that we probably should have done a long time ago. My siblings have as well and my mum is low contact. I still don't know why they chose to act the way they did, though some of their more creepy behavior have come to light. Neither of us are willing to go into depth on everything my family has done, but needless to say, I am fine with never speaking to them ever again. Jay said in a few years, he's open to maybe seeing them at any potential family events. He's far too kind. We have decided though, that when kids come into the picture, they will not have any contact with these people. And before anyone asks, everyone at the wedding left the original venue a harsh review. Was it petty? Yes, but none of us care. Both Jay and I would like to thank everyone for their support and well wishes as we go on to start our lives together. Share your story in the comments, I would love to add them to a video.